So welcome to this channel. Let's continue learning. Today we'll look up on VLOOKUP, and we'll learn about how to exact and approximate match, case insensitive, wildcard character search, NA error, VLOOKUP, and data validation. So for example, let's say we have such a data sheet whereby you have all this data, perhaps maybe in thousands or in hundreds, and you would like to see perhaps one legion, for example, or perhaps one item, for example, if it's paint, or for example, you would like to confirm such happenings maybe per day. So what you're supposed to do is the VLOOKUP formula looks like this one. You can see on my right hand. If we want to look, for example, the legion, here we have Busia, and the VLOOKUP formula looks like this. And what you will get as a result is, for example, if we are looking for sales amount, you'll be able to get like in Busia. In Busia, we sold or we get a sale of 600,000, and you can see from our data sheet, this is what we have, and it looks kind of simple if you are using the VLOOKUP to search what exactly you want to achieve. So in our case, we have I have this data, the same data I've just shown you, and this is the data that we'll use to learn with and also to practice a few things. And first of all, we'll start with exact match. And when we talk of exact match, we want to exactly find what was happening. For example, if it's sales and we have a legion, for the example here, let's say is Busia, as we had seen on our previous show or slide, and under Busia, we want to get the sales amount that was done or was sold in this legion. So what we are supposed to come and use through the use of VLOOKUP, is supposed to come and provide the formula, which is V. You provide VLOOKUP, you tab. Once you tab, you provide the lookup value. The lookup value for our case is Busia, and you give a comma. After giving a comma, you're supposed to give a table array. You can see the table array is highlighted, or it's the system, or the Excel is giving you in bold so that you can be in a position to move, providing as per the bolded values. So the table array in our case is for example is, let's say it's from the legion. We'll select from the legion, we select the entire table, then give comma, then you're supposed to provide the column index number. The column index number, this is the number whereby the sales amount per the column it lies. So as per our table of array, the sales amount is on the fourth column. So counting from the where we have started to correct or to select our table, which is C, you can count and say this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're supposed to provide 4, give a comma. You're supposed to give a range lookup. Range lookup, we have approximate match, and we have exact match. So for exact match, you can here come and double click, then give the closing parenthesis, and then hit enter. So you can be able to see under Busia the sales amount. Where is it here? This is Busia. The sales amount is 600. So the same case we can do for another region, maybe say Machakos. So give the VLOOKUP formula tab, and this is our lookup value. Give comma. The table array is from region all the way to F16. Give a comma. Then index is 4, because this is a source amount column. Then give a comma. You can provide, either you select false or give 0. It both means the same thing. Then you give the closing parenthesis and hit enter. So you can be able to see under Machakos here it has given us the actual amount that was sold. So that's the first learning for this video. Then the second thing is the approximate match. Approximate match is whereby we don't have the exact region, perhaps, or item that is in the system or in the data sheet that you are trying to analyze, but you can try to kind of approximate. So for example, let me show you so that you can understand. For example, if it is boy, we don't have boy on our list of legions that we have here, but through VLOOKUP we can try to see if boy could have been there in the list, where could it be ranging at. So for example, if we are looking at quantity, let's for example say provide the formula VLOOKUP, hit tab. Our lookup value is this boy, give a comma. Our table of array is from region all the way to F16, and then you give comma. The column index is from where we have started our table of array. The quantity lies under the second column, so it's our column index number is 2, then comma. So we are supposed to now not to give exact match but approximate match. So under approximate match you can select, you can double click or give 1, then close your parenthesis and hit enter. So you can see if we had void saying that the quantity could have maybe 3456, and 3456 is because if you can see here, V is below O, and O it's ahead of V. So what happens is the system checks on the preceding item, which is before the region that perhaps you are looking at, or the item that you are looking at. The preceding, which is before that region, is what the system will give. For example, if we can try and see on Meru, and we provide formula, which is VLOOKUP tab. Our lookup value is Meru. Give comma. Our table of array is region all the way we select. Give a comma. Then we give our column index, which is we are looking for the sales amount. Column index is 1, 2, 3, 4. You give 4. Give a comma and give 1 as the approximate match. Give a closing parenthesis and hit enter. So you can see if we had Meru, it could have been having this amount of perhaps this amount of sales. So Meru could have come between this amount is lying in which region? In Machakos. So Meru could have been between Machakos and Mombasa. So it will pick the deciding value, which is Machakos, and give it the value which is 16,06,150. So I hope that one will help you to use the approximate match. Going to the second or to the third item, it's about VLOOKUP looks to the right. So what does that mean? This means that the VLOOKUP, when you're using VLOOKUP, the value that you are looking at, it has to be on the, for example, if it's a date, let's say, for example, this is the region here is Kisii, and you want to look at perhaps on which date Kisii was sold. So if you come here and provide a VLOOKUP formula tab, our lookup value is Kisii, give comma, table of array, see where date is, come and select, give a comma, then our column index, which is date, it is a column 1. See here it's column 1. I give 1, comma, and then we need the exact match, give 0, and then give the closing parenthesis and hit enter. So you see we are getting an error. Why? Because the value that we are looking for, which is the date, it's on the left. It is on the left of the legion, whereby we are losing. These are value that we are trying to look at, but now unfortunately, because Kisii it is on the right as per our table here, we cannot be able to get the value of the date. So how can we correct this one? So in such a case, you're supposed to come and say, maybe to say, for example, we have date which is for example, 1st January 2020. So let's look for the legion here and say VLOOKUP tab. Our value is the date, and the date in our case here is it is in this cell, which is J8, comma, then table overlay is this one. Okay, then you hit comma. Then after that, supposed to give the column index. Column index of legion is 1, 2, 3. It's the third one. Give comma. Then we need the exact match. Give 0. Closing. Simple parenthesis. Hit enter. So you see, it is returning the value because Kisii right now as our lookup value was on our left, but in our first case, the date, which was our lookup value, is on the right. Okay, I hope you understand the difference. Okay, so on our next item, it's whereby the VLOOKUP can help you to return, or it usually returns the first match. What am I trying to say here? When it is about returning the first match, you will come to understand, like, for example, there are several items that could be having the same, information. For example, in our case here, we have the date 3rd January 2020, and we have a second date 3rd January 2020. Also, we have 8th January 2020, and we have another 8th here. So, in such a case, let's, for example, say we want to look the region that sold on 3rd of January 2020. So we provide the date here as our lookup value, 3rd Jan 2020. So the region will look, we provide the VLOOKUP tab. This is our lookup value, give comma. The table of array, you select like that and give comma. Then the region is under which column index? It's under the 3rd column from the date. So date is the first column, second is paint, that is region. So you provide 3 and give comma. Then we need exact match, provide 0 and a closing parenthesis. Hit enter. So you can be able to see the VLOOKUP is telling us that on that January 2020, Mombasa was the region that was sold. So you can see we have 3rd January here, whereby 2 regions were sold, Mombasa and Embu. But how the VLOOKUP works, it first of all, it gives the first match. It doesn't consider the second and others that follows. I hope that one you understand. I can do another one, for example, for the 8th of January 2020, and our VLOOKUP is this is our lookup value, give comma, our table of array, give comma. Then we are looking for the region which is 3rd in terms of the column index, give comma, and provide 0 as the exact match and closing parenthesis. Hit enter. So on 8th of January, Kitale region was sold. You can see it's the first one here, but we have another 8th of January here, whereby even Kisumu there were some sales. So I hope you understand that. Next, it's the case sensitive. So what am I trying to mean here is that VLOOKUP doesn't consider the case sensitive when it comes to searching for the match. So for example, if this is a case whereby we provide the VLOOKUP formula tab, our case here, we are looking for Isiolo. Be notified here that Isiolo has it's in caps, or it's in uppercase. So it's our lookup value. You provide comma. Then our table of array, because we are looking at legion and sales, our table should start from where the legion is. Then provide comma. Then provide the column index for sales amount. Sales amount is on the 4th column from where the our table of array starts. You give 4 comma. Then we need exact match. So we provide 0 and closing parenthesis, then hit enter. So you can be able to see at Isiolo we had 600,000 sales. We had 600,000 in terms of sales, and if you can look here, we have Isiolo on lowercase, but here we have it on uppercase. But here down we also have Isiolo on uppercase, but VLOOKUP did not consider this uppercase to give us the results. It only considered the first EC that it matched. I hope that one is clear. Okay. Next, we have the wildcard match. Wildcard match, it's whereby you can provide, for example, if this is the question here, we have find the sales done by for the region represented by OL. So, if for example we come here and say OL, we need to look for the quantity that was sold by a region that has this representative. So what you're supposed to come here is to give formula for VLOOKUP, which is VLOOKUP, sorry, hit enter. And what we are looking for is this is our table of, this is our lookup value. Before you give a comma, you give ampersand, which is like that. Then you give opening inverted commas. Then you provide a static. Then you give the closing inverted comma. Then you give a comma. Then from there, I will give the table of array, which is we are looking for the region. You will start from the region all the way down. Then give comma. Then from there, you provide the column index for quantity. Quantity from where the table of array is the second column, so we'll give 2. Then after giving 2, you're supposed to come and give a comma. Then because we need exact match, give 0, and you give the closing parenthesis and hit enter. So you can be able to see that 456 is what we are getting from this wildcard match. So the VLOOKUP, you can be able to give the presentation or representation of certain perhaps characters that could be closer to what you are trying to look for. For example, maybe you are looking for a certain name and you're not sure exactly what the name is. You can use that formula and be able to get a close or an exact match of what you're looking for. You can see here it has given us Oloitoktok, which is exactly 3456. 3456 is the quantity that was sold. Okay. So let's go to the next item that I wanted us to look at. We are trying to see on how we can you can provide a friendly kind of message when it comes to the error which we refer to as an A. When you are providing the wrong parameters, when you're trying to use VLOOKUP, you can end up to find an error. For example, let me show you. If, for example, you need to search for a date, date is our lookup value, which is, for example, 6th of January 2020. And then, for example, here say not even 6th. Let's look for a date which is not in this data sheet, whereby our maximum date goes up to 15th of January, so we can provide maybe 16 and hit enter. So if you come here and say you're looking for profit that was made on 16th of January, we come and give the VLOOKUP formula. After you type the first 3 characters and the VLOOKUP formula prompts here, you can tab so that it can auto-fill. Then you provide the lookup value, which is our date, comma. Then after providing the comma, you should be able to provide the table of array. In our case is from the date all the way to profit, the whole table. You can give comma. Then column index for profit is column, is it 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So our column index here is 8. Then comma. Then we need the exact match, give 0. And because we want to have exact match, you give 0, then you close. You give the closing parenthesis, you hit enter. So because there is no such date in our data, you'll get an error. This error which start with #n then stroke a. So to correct this, if for example you provide the correct date here, for example you say January 6th, it will give you the correct amount. So what happens, you can maybe if it's for someone you have prepared or users you have prepared such worksheet and you want them to provide the correct data so that they can be able to auto-populate the correct information, you can provide this formula whereby you use you usually provide if and a. You give the VLOOKUP. You provide the VLOOKUP formula the way we provide in the normal way. Then you give comma. Then at the end you'll give any message that you want to be populated. To do that practically, let's do it. For example, equals if n you tab VLOOKUP tab, our VLOOKUP is date, comma, then our table is select our table of array, give comma, then column index we are looking for profit, it's number column 8, so you give 8 comma, we need the exact, so you provide 0 and close our parenthesis, give a comma, then open inverted comma, then you provide the message that you would like to the user to get at the end if they provide their own lookup value. For example, you can tell them please enter the correct date. And you close. Then you close with a parenthesis. Parenthesis. Hit enter. So you see, because here there is no any date, we are getting this error. Let's for example provide the lookup value date with a date that is in our data sheet here. So if we come here and provide maybe 7th of January 2020 and tab, you see the message has changed, or the value has changed because we have the correct data here. But if I happen to put like 21st January 2020 and tab, you see it will give us a message telling us please enter the correct date, because the date that we have here, or the date that we have here, and based on the lookup formula, does not align. So you get that message. I hope you understand this formula. Okay. Right. So on our item and the final one, I would like to show you how you can combine the VLOOKUP and perhaps one of the Excel function which we refer to as data validation. And for example, let's say you want to look for maybe let's for example say you want to see the profit that was made per item. The items here we have paints. Paints is what was being sold, and this is the profit that was made per each paint that was sold per whichever date. So you can come here and say our lookup value will be paint, and we are looking for profit. So you can come and bold this and maybe even give some coloring. Okay. So for example, what usually happens if maybe you're not conversant with data validation, but you can check on my previous video. There is a video I've done about data validation, and you can be able to see how you can provide data from maybe a different sheet or even from a different column, and provide it in a way that you can be able to select through a drop down. So what am I trying to say? For example, I want to have all the paints that I have in this sheet here, and I will just come and select through a drop down. So what happens, you should come in on your ribbon, Excel ribbon, you will come at data, and under data you come under group data tools. Under data tools there is something we refer to as data validation. You select data validation, and this pop-out window, you'll get this pop-out window, and you're supposed now to provide the parameters. Now what happens is you have chances to provide different parameters, but in our case we'll select list, and for this we are creating a list, or a list of what you'll be selecting through drop down. So once you provide a list, you select a list here. You should come here and provide the source. Where is this list coming from? So once you have clicked on this region or this field of source, come here, or wherever your data will be aligned, you come and select all of it. Once you have selected that, you can click OK. There are other information you can provide here, but this one you can check on my previous video on data validation. And from that, you can now click OK. So if you want to see whether you have your data, you can come here and click the drop down, and you can see we have our data here. Cool, huh? Nice. So combining this and VLOOKUP, we can come and give our VLOOKUP formula tab. Our range is paint, and give comma, table of array from where paint starts, or from the column that holds paint names, then give comma. Then our index of profit is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We give 7, comma. We need exact, we provide 0, and closing parentheses. Then hit enter. So it's giving us an error. Why? Because under our paint we have not selected anything. So let's come and select any of the paints and see what we'll get, whether we'll get the actual profit from the data sheet we have. For example, let's say red wine gloss. Wow, it's giving us, let's put some comma so that we can see whether it's exact what we have here. So it's saying that on red wine gloss 2 liters, the profit was 3 million and blah blah blah. So let's come and see, where is red wine here? 2 liters, here it is, and the profit is exactly. So let's say we select something else like immersion blue 1 liter. See, it's changing. So you don't need to keep on go and changing and so that you can or creating several more lookup. You can be able to combine this feature of data validation and VLOOKUP to easy your perhaps it's a presentation. I hope this one will help you in your day-to-day working with Excel. Thank you very much.